If you often have pain on the side of your hip, or you've even been diagnosed with trochanteritis, this video is especially for you, because we're going to focus our work on the gluteus medius. It's a fan-shaped muscle that sits on the side, right above that trochanter, and it helps relieve the pressure and friction at the level of the bursa on that trochanter, and therefore it helps relieve the symptoms. Extremely important for any hip problem. These 4 exercises can be done without lying on the floor or changing positions. I know that trochanteritis can be very bothersome when you lie on your side or when you get up. That's why I've prepared these 4 very comfortable exercises. However, we're going to need a little bit of equipment to do them. First, a chair, and second, a blanket or an elastic band. If you have an elastic band, that's even better, but if you don't, that's okay. You can still use that blanket. Third, a book of a certain size, and lastly, a plastic or cardboard plate. If you don't have one, that's fine. It can be a piece of cardboard, it can be a handkerchief, anything that allows you to slide that foot on the floor. We'll leave this leg resting and start with the exercises. I hope you'll join me. We're going to complete 1 set of each of them. I invite you, if you want to make it longer, to add 2, 3, or even 4 sets of each exercise. First movement. We're going to do it with the resistance band and also with the towel, so you can see both options. I center myself a little, and we start. The gluteus medius is a muscle whose function is to separate the legs from each other, to separate and at the same time stabilize the pelvis. So the first exercise will be focused on that. I'll move back a little so you can see me better. I plant both feet on the floor with my knees bent at a little less than 90 degrees. And from here, what I'm going to do is place my band around my knees, bring my knees together, and up. What I do is make a little knot with my elastic band. If you don't have an elastic band, you can use, as I said, a blanket around your legs. And as I said, I'm going to show you in a moment. All right, from this position, we're going to keep our hands on the elastic so it doesn't fly off. I want you to bring it very, very, very close to the edge, right at knee level, so you have more leverage. And from here, spread your legs while keeping your feet together. Spread as much as you can. Keep the contraction. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then slowly return. It's possible that the elastic band will loosen as we do the exercise, so I recommend using your hands to adjust the tension according to your ability. We spread, hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And relax. Let's go again. Spread strongly. 2, 3, 4, 5. Relax. Last repetition. Spread strongly. Relax and find a comfortable position for your back. No need to position yourself in any specific way. And you can do this exercise no matter what hip problem you have, as long as the problem causes pain on the side of your hip. If you lack an elastic band, a blanket can be used instead, though it requires more care and is slightly more complex. We won't see any movement, but we will feel a contraction. I recommend taking a blanket that's quite long, finding one end and placing it underneath. Cross it over the top so that you have roughly the same length of blanket on both sides, and grab each of the ends. As you can see, each of your arms forms an X with your blanket. Make sure to wrap that blanket tightly around your arms to add the necessary tension and keep the legs from separating. This is an isometric movement, meaning I push outward, but the blanket and my arms prevent my knees from separating. This generates a contraction that we call isometric, meaning there is muscle activity, the muscle contracts, but you don't see much movement. Here you can barely see a little. It's just as effective, and even more so for people in severe pain. So don't think that just because you're doing it with a blanket, you won't get results. It's very good, okay? I ensure the blanket is extremely tight. I spread my legs. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You can spread them as wide as you want. There's a lot of muscle intensity, like I said, on the side of the hip. Let's go again. I spread strongly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I relax. You can also make a small knot if you have a lot of strength in your legs. That way you add more intensity and keep going. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Relax. I've done 3. Let's go for the last 2. I separate. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Relax. Last repetition, I separate 2, 3, 4, and 5. Very good. 10 repetitions, but I assure you that I can already feel some muscle activity in my glute. This is the simplest exercise. Let's put our mat over there. Let's also set the elastic aside where we need it. And let's move on to the next exercise, which we're going to do standing up. We're going to increase the intensity. I recommend placing your chair to the side. You can also use the wall or a piece of furniture for support. It's important to keep the book close to you, under the leg that you won't be working, so that we can move the opposite leg freely. Listen closely. I want my free leg to remain completely straight. Looking forward, make sure the tip of your foot is facing the camera and is straight. Look, I don't want it like this. I want it to be completely facing forward. From here, I want you to spread that leg as much as possible until you feel some muscle activity here. A major effort from the gluteus medius muscle. I'll move back for a better view. Hold the contraction for a few seconds and then return to the starting position. Everything extremely slow, controlled, and focused on working that glute med. Pay close attention. If you pointed your toe outward and did a repetition, the sensations wouldn't be the same. We will work more on the PSOA's muscles. Let's go back to our upright position. Try to separate that leg as much as possible. I feel that contraction. 2, 3, 4, and 5, and relax. Above all, we will avoid making this movement by compensating with the chest. Always stay very straight. I open my leg, relax, that's 3. We're going to do 10 with each leg, you and I together. I open as much as I can, relax, let's go again, open as much as I can, but without sacrificing my posture. That's 5. If your supporting leg hurts in this position, walk a little, move around, it's normal, you're bearing the weight of your whole body. Let's do 5 more outward. Make sure that foot is pointing forward and not like this. All right, relajo. 6, 3 seconds of contraction. I only have 3 left. Let's go for them. 8. 9. Last repetition. Open up, point your toes straight forward, and 10. As you can see, sometimes I also struggle a bit with that leg, okay? Be careful. I'm going to turn around so you can see it from another angle, and so we can also work on the other side, okay? Let's switch that leg to better follow the exercise. I lean on the book, I lean on my chair, on the wall, on a piece of furniture. I stay nice and straight, and from here, hand on my waist, and I move to the side. I don't lean. The movement is pure, from the hip, and the contraction happens here. Important. Always work with complete safety. Not falling is the main goal. If there's any risk of falling, the idea would be to not do the exercise or make sure we're safer. By placing tables, cushions, sofas, furniture, whatever around. We've done 3. Let's do 10. I separate, tiptoe forward, and return. 4. And come back. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. Last repetition. 10. Very good job. At this point, you should already be noticing some muscle fatigue in your glutes. Let's set the book aside. We won't need it for now. Let's move on to the lateral slider. A pretty intense exercise that you can adapt to your level depending on the range of motion you want to give it. We position ourselves near a chair again. The tip of the foot at the level touches the ground of the plate, and you should keep it there throughout the entire exercise. In this case, we're going to work on pelvic stability indirectly. It's not the leg that moves to the side that's working, but rather the left leg that's supporting you, the one that's not moving. Point of support and work in stability. It's not going to be an exercise that you feel much in your hips, but overall, it's going to challenge those glutes a lot. Toes pointing forward. I lean on the chair. I try to keep myself straight. I slide the plate and at the same time watch how my knee bends. You don't need to go very far. and then I slowly return to the starting position. Depending on your symptoms, if you're in a lot of pain, make it shorter. If you have little pain, work with a greater range of motion to make the exercise more challenging. Let's go again. I slide the support, it stays on my leg, I flex my glute. It's working here at its maximum. I return to the position. Starting position. 2. He stopped. I return to the starting position. 3. You may wonder why I lean forward. It's to maintain my vertical axis, because if I don't, I'll fall backward and the movement won't be correct. I go back to the starting position. I bend both my knee and my hip. Let's go again. 4. Let's go again. 5. 5 more with the left. Left supporting leg. 6. You can also obviously feel a lot of stretching in the adductor of the leg that's being extended. That's normal, but not the work we need. We don't want stretching. We want work from the supporting leg. 8. And that muscle fatigue can also take a few repetitions to set in. 9. 10. I'm gonna do one more because I think we counted wrong. Very good. Perfect. We've worked that left leg for support. Now let's move on to the right leg. Remember, it's the supporting leg that's working. I switch the weight to the other side. I support myself at the level of my chair, sit up straight, try not to compensate with my torso, and make sure both feet are pointing straight ahead. Allow me to turn my back to you if you see it from another perspective. From here, I bend and let it slide. I come back. I'm working on pelvis stability and also on knee stability. 2. 3, 4. 5. 6. 7, 8, 8. 9, last repetition. And 10. It looks like a simple exercise, but I assure you I've worked to the best of my abilities. Let's remove the book and plate, leaving them here. Thank you for helping us, and now let's move on to the 4th exercise, which is not without its difficulties. Once again, we perform an isometric exercise. Remember, there is some contraction, but you don't see any movement. We feel muscle contraction, but there is no movement of our body. For that, I invite you to turn the chair. We're going to do it at 2 levels, one simpler and one more complicated. Let's push that chair firmly against the wall, and I want you to rest your foot on the chair. And make sure that foot is resting exactly on the edge of the chair, in such a way that both the outer edge of your foot and your knee are in contact with the wall. We place the left hand on the knee, the shoulder is also in contact, and we can place the right hand at the level of the waist. Notice that I have 90 degrees of hip flexion and 90 degrees of knee flexion. Try to find a surface, a chair, a stool, whatever allows you to reproduce this position. From here, I look straight ahead, very upright, and I want you to press your left leg against the wall very, very hard, as if you wanted to knock it down, as if there were an insect here that you wanted to crush. That's what we're going to do. Press with our knee, and I want you to do it very hard. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and relax. You won't notice a big effort, but the work is being done both here at the level of stabilization of the gluteus medius in the supporting leg, and also here at the level of strength development. Let's go again. One hand here. We look forward, squeeze 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and relax. And what I'm doing is pressing my knee against the wall. Again, I squeeze hard. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and relax. 3 more. I squeeze hard. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and relax. We have 2 left. I squeeze very hard. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Last repetition, I squeeze hard. 2, 3, 4, and 5, and relax. Many people struggle to visualize and put this exercise into practice. That's why we can also use a small ball and a small cushion, something soft that we can place right between the knee and the wall. What is this going to allow us to do? It will help us concentrate more on the movement, stay more focused, know where we're applying force, and add a bit of movement. Basically, it would be the same. We get into position, squeeze 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then relax. This little ball helps us become aware of the exercise, focus on visualizing it, and send that muscle command more effectively. Include it if you have it, if not, don't. We did 5 because it's more challenging, and I encourage you to attempt it. It's basically removing the chair, placing your leg in the same position. Now all our weight is on the supporting leg. There's more stability work, and we perform the same movement. We squeeze hard, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and relax again. Squeeze hard, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and relax. That's 2. Squeeze. I have 2 left. Squeeze hard. 4, last repetition. Squeeze. And how many do they do? 5, 5, and 5, 10, and I'll show you again with the little ball. How would it be easier to carry out that muscle command to activate the muscles and focus on the movement? Should I squeeze hard? Here it is, and I relax. The problem is that when you relax, you shouldn't relax too much, because if you do, the ball will fall very easily. It's not an exercise that you'll feel is very intense on a muscular level, but there is some work for the gluteus medius, both the supporting leg and the leg that performs the movement. Let's switch sides because we need to do 10 on the other side. Let's reposition our chair. Let's remember the parameters. Chair supported, knee on top, foot more or less on the chair. We can place the little ball. If you enjoyed it, you can see it better from this angle. Very straight. Right shoulder against the wall, right hand on the knee, hand on the waist. And I press my right leg against the wall as if I wanted to crush that little ball. 5 seconds and relax. Squeeze. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and relax. It's an isometric exercise. You can't see it, but it's happening. 3, 4, 5. Relax. We have 2 left. Squeeze hard. Relax. Last repetition. And relax. Very, very good. Very, very effective. Let's remove our chair and do the same thing, but without foot support, which makes the exercise extremely challenging. We go back again with the little ball. Squeeze 3, 4, 5, relax. Squeeze again 3, 4, 5, relax. Let's go again. Three, 4, 5, relax, relax. We have 2 left. Squeeze. Relax. Last repetition and relax. Very good. These have been my 4 exercises, my suggestion for you to work your gluteus medius so you can improve that trochanteritis, that lateral hip pain. We've seen 4 exercises, starting with 1 using a band and mat. The second was that lateral opening, standing on a plate. In the third, we did that lateral slider. And in the fourth, we just did a new isometric position. How much should you do it? I recommend taking all the exercises and doing 2 or 3 sets of each one. That is, you complete 10 rest, and so on until you finish the whole session, doing it every other day. And I'm sure that in 2 to 3 weeks you'll see much better, milder symptoms and greater confidence and strength. At the hip level, if you want to learn much more about the hip, I invite you to join Hip Week. It's a small event where, once you join, you'll receive 7 truly amazing recordings about how to work on mobility, strength, and stability. The 3 pillars that will allow you to build a hip from scratch, a hip capable of handling your daily activities. I'll leave it here for you if you're interested. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for watching until the end. I hope you can share it with people who need it, and I especially hope you'll come back to my channel from time to time to keep improving your quality of life with me. Greetings, my friends. Bye-bye.